Do you ever feel like you don't have enough time in the day and wish someone would be there grinding video games for you? Well, that's the exact issue I faced. There was an in-game event for the most famous tower defense monkey game, Bloons Tower Defense 6, and I didn't have enough time to beat it. But then I realized something. I put my foot down and said, why spend an hour grinding in a video game when instead I could spend the next week making a computer do it for me? How long does the event last, by the way? 9 days. But how on earth can we get a computer to play this game? A complex AI neural network algorithm thing would take way too long to make and would be so unreliable it would be practically useless. So I turned to the next best method, macros. Basically, what they do is copy all your key movements and mouse strokes and play back exactly what you did. We'll add more code to it later to make it really cool and functional and better, but if we just give it a go and record ourselves playing in a map first and play it back, actually works. That never happens on the first try, but I will take it 100% any day. However, that was only the easiest step, and to get it to work, we only have 9 days. Otherwise, all of my hard work will be wasted and the event will be over. But here's the tricky bit. We can't just play the same macro over and over. Menus change, pop-ups appear, other things disturb the game, and by the time that happens, you're probably going to accidentally end up buying a bunch of in-game currency. So it just won't work, so we need to do something a bit more intelligent. If we are somehow able to reliably detect which screen we're on with a computer, we should then be able to determine which macro to play at what time somehow, and if you're anything like me, you'll know that will be pretty difficult. First things first, create a new project in Visual Studio, spend a while trying to make sure all the packages installed and working correctly, and why on earth is Windows Default Forms not working? Find an obscure solution on page 1 of 4 of Stack Overflow with -5 upvotes, and find in the comments just some random dude going, yeah, just do this. And it worked! I think. Now that I've spent 5 hours setting up the project, we can now move on to coding. So if we use this thing called INOCR, which reads text, and we take a screenshot of the screen, and then we try and read that text from it, we should be able to tell which screen we're on, and it's not working. I'm not sure why it's saying it's reading I don't know how to pronounce that, and it doesn't exist. What is it reading it from? I have no idea. I don't even know what that means. And instead of reading the big text of Victory, that's what it's reading. I can't even see. How? What? Maybe if we make it so it only has to look at the very middle of the screen, maybe that would somehow make it work. But it now only reads Popmaster, which is the least useful bit of text on the screen because it changes every round. Computers are 200 years old according to Google. Wait, what? And they've been materialized for 14 times longer than myself. So surely they would have learned how to read by now, or maybe that's their issue. They've been around for so long that they've lost their eyesight and their brain has started to degrade. And now all they do is just read code with their brain on where was I? Oh, that's right, exactly. We were trying to decode this random string of weirdness and make it work, and oh, it does work. That's nice. Some words are actually there. Despite the hiccups, it can still read some of the smaller words on the screen, so if we're able to find some which always appear, we should be able to make it work. Oh my god, that was great acting. Anyway, that I don't know what I just showed, but it works. It works. It doesn't. It moves. We can now do this for every screen, and it counters, and it now actually works. But now we need the computer to actually play the game. And to do that, we need multiple macros, and the app I'm using only allows me to use one. Luckily, there seems to be a really simple solution because there's a partner app which should allow me to do what I need, and so that should be really easy work, right? Well, if you know what you're talking about, yes, but I don't, so it took me reinstalling everything 4 times before I realized that one of the apps had to be closed in order for them to detect that each other existed. They're made by the same company, just at least tell me why this isn't working. Yeah. And now we're at the same point, but just a little bit slower, but more potential. If we record more macros for navigating menus, it should all work, and we give them all different hotkeys. It should work, and it mostly does. Sure, it'll need a bit of fine-tuning and tweaking in order to make it more reliable, but it works. But it'd be a shame if we had to start it all over again. It's 3 PM and I've just tried booting up my computer, but it stopped responding, so I switched it off at the power and I booted it up again. And my main hard drive with all my projects and everything just isn't there. If it had got corrupted, not only would I have to start this video again, but basically everything I've done over the last 6 months will get deleted. No matter what I did, nothing seemed to work, so I opened up my computer and nothing seemed to be out of place. I put it back together again and what? It worked, but nothing got deleted. It doesn't make sense, but it did, and I'm so glad that it didn't go wrong. After that chaos, it was just a matter of fine-tuning and tweaking to make sure it actually worked reliably, and I could run it for hours on end. But it took me days to do that, because every time I wanted to test any line of code, I would have to run the project for 10 minutes at least, and then try and find out what works, and I had to do that for hundreds or thousands of lines of code. From just testing, we've already got a loot box though, and it didn't have great items, but it's paying off. But now we run into another issue. Every so often, a pop-up in the game will appear saying you've leveled up, and we need to get rid of that as quickly as possible and then restart the macro and continue it at something to make sure the game continues playing. But that sounds really, really difficult, so I just decided we can just close it with some new macro and just say, let's just lose the game and then restart over. And so that allowed it to work without me spending the next few months working on this project. More bug fixes and tweaks, and now with 3 days left of the event, we have an automatic, reliable video game grinder ready for us. So let's run it for a bit and see what we get. So everything added together, we managed to get 20,000 monkey money, which is worth a fair bit, as well as we got 16 monkey knowledge points, which are worth a bit on their own, as well as a bunch of totems to open crates with. In total, that's worth nearly $50 of stuff, which is an awful lot. Oh, and in one of the crates we got one of the best items in the game that we can place for free, so I can finally beat this map.